Creating the budget. When creating a budget for a grant, it is important to remember that the budget is the cost of running the program. It is also important to remember that developing a budget takes a long time, so it is important to do the research to develop the budget in a timely manner. There are different types of budgets: a line item budget, a functional budget, and a program budget. Line item budgets are the most commonly required budget when proposing a grant. They represent expenditures in specific budget categories, and each expenditure is itemized in the specific category. Two main categories are used in a budget proposal. These are the personnel costs and the operating expenses. There are also functional budgets and program budgets. These two types of budgets provide information that can assist in management and money allocation in addition to simply itemizing expenditures. These budgets can provide feedback on the cost of activities and program objectives in the grant proposal. Functional and program budgets can even be used to determine cost of performing specific types of work and the difference in cost of the objectives that may be in the grant proposal. Back to line item budgets. As discussed earlier, line item budgets are divided into two categories: personnel costs and operating expenses. Personnel costs consist of salaries and benefits for the staff. Benefits can include health insurance, dental insurance, retirement funds, taxes, unemployment insurance, and Social Security contributions. Personnel costs will also break down types of staff, time required, and the salary range. Types of staff is the kind of positions filled by people needed to run the project. These could include a project director, professional staff, student interns or volunteers, secretarial or administrative assistants, accounting staff, and possibly an executive director. Time required is the time required in each personnel category, such as a full-time position, half-time position, or part-time position. Sometimes this will be requested as a percent of time. This is expressed in a percentage such as 50% for a half-time employee. Salary range, of course, is the range of salary an employee will receive. Operating expenses consist of all non-personnel expenditures. They can include rent, printing, mailing, travel, telephone, utilities, and office supplies. It is also acceptable to include indirect costs in this category. These can be costs for things such as administrative costs, data management, IT management, audits, unforeseen increases, and any additional expenses. Keep in mind, however, there is usually a cap for this line of the budget of 10 to 15% of the total budget. The budget justification is a very important part of the budget. It is a detailed description of each line of the budget and must include how the totals were calculated. Matching funds are a percentage of the total budget some funding sources will provide, with the remainder falling on the agency. Costs assumed by the agency are called in-kind. These are to be included in the budget as well. In-kind contributions aren't always money. It can come in the form of time, goods, or services. It is important to remember to always include all contributions received in the budget to potential funders. If you receive funds for the same project unbeknownst to funders, this is known as double counting, and this is prohibited. Budget adjustments will usually have to have the consent of the funder before funds can transfer between lines. The total of the budget is not changing. The funds are simply being reallocated between the lines. A written explanation is required for each line that is changed. Budget amendments are similar to adjustments. The difference is amendments are used for a significant change in the scope of the project while it is in progress. The amendment is written in the same format as the adjustment and must go through a formal approval process. Once the grant proposal is approved, there will always be negotiations that follow. These are usually done face-to-face. It is important to always be aware of the domino effect during negotiations. One change will affect the whole budget. The funder will almost always want to change something, so it is important to know your project intimately so you can discuss your rationales for keeping the proposal as is. You will want to try and create an atmosphere of a partnership, and, just in case, always prepare a new proposal for less money prior to the meeting so that you are the one that comes up with the changes and are comfortable with them. You also must know your bottom line that you are willing to go to. Subcontracting is a common practice. This is when another agency is helping to provide the full service you intended in the proposal. This must also be addressed in the body of the grant and clearly identify the role of the subcontractors, as this will establish credibility for the subcontractor. In the end, budgets are much more than just the money aspect of the proposal. They are also one of the most important parts of the proposal, as it tells the funder exactly what is going to be done with the money they are granting.